They hate when I do like an alcohol post and everything that it does physiologically. They're like,
I just tell
"Thanks for
people,
ruining
if you're
my
drinking
day."
the night before, don't go to the gym the next day. Wow, we would have never believed this. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google. Go out there and listen to us. So we're excited about it. We're glad you're excited about it too. Hey, I'm here. Thank you for joining us with Muscles Matters, because Steve, muscles do matter, don't they?
Yes, they do. And so does the playoff game you're making me miss tonight.
Oh my gosh.
But you know what?
How do I make it up to you? Can we pay you more, or Mike? I don't know.
It's okay. Tom Brady's wetting the bed, so it doesn't matter.
Oh,
you know me, I'm the biggest cowboy hater there is, and
I
it's just
know
not a
you
good
are.
thing for me.
I love your meme today. Now, I got to be careful because my son-in-law's a big Cowboy fan. Him and his dad are in Tampa Bay. But I love your thing. You're saying today that Cowboy fans are looking for memes. The Cowboy haters are looking for memes.
Yes, and I have a whole bunch of them, and I got to wait till next week.
Do you think it's going that direction, or which way is it going?
Oh, Tom's wetting the bed.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, we hope you're out there enjoying it. Mike Harvey's going to suffer through the next week's diet and workout for making Steve miss that tonight. But we're here with my friend, newfound friend, John Thompson. He has a business here today in town, Bakersfield, fitness, Thompson Fitness, and you have a Limitless, which is online. Right. So it doesn't matter if you're local or out there. You could check out Thompson's Limitless or Thompson Fitness.
Yeah.
So, Steve, I always love it what you do, and I love what he does because you guys
got years.
You guys add your
Let me rephrase that. Decades. It's a big difference when you say decade versus years. It sounds good.
You know what's cool is you both let your faith involved with fitness, and that's something that I really appreciate. So if you want to go out and you want to see Steve during the week, you can catch him at NOS Fitness or Power. It's not even a fitness gym. It's just
Mongo pick up rock there.
Yeah, yeah. They do a lot of crazy lifting over there, or you can see them at Sportslanders West. It is
7420 District Boulevard. We're right across the street from Nestle's on District Boulevard. Yeah. Mongo picked up too many rocks today.
Yeah. So, John, talk to us about your fitness journey. You were a motocross rider, you were a gymnast, you were a bodybuilder. What stimulated that thought process? I always think men, and I'm not sure, nowadays, but I'm just thinking when I grew up, when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, when boys always wanted to lift, they wanted to exercise, and I know it's diminished into this new era, new age. I know toxic masculinity is something they talk about, which we think is a bunch of boo hockey.
Yeah, that's what Tom Brady's doing on the football field right now.
But what excited the young John Thompson about fitness?
Well, for one, next time you're going to have me on here, let me know if Steve's going to be here. For all of you listening, I'm way bigger than Steve is. For those of you who watching,
we just have a wide angle.
I practice angling people. That's my goal.
He has this perfect radio voice as well. This deep, masculine voice that I try to mimic.
Well, I DJed for a lot of years. So.
He did.
Oh, man. Okay, yeah.
Steve has a lot of experience.
Yeah, life
under
has
that
been
hood.
Fun.
Yeah, under the hood. He does. So what got you in? It's a business now, but what got you?
Right.
What got?
Right.
Because it never starts out as the business angle, right, Steve?
No.
If it doesn't last long.
Yes. The old saying is, if you love it, you never work.
Exactly. And with and Steve probably agrees. Well, I won't say you agree for sure, but there's a lot of self-absorbed narcissism in fitness for sure, right? So someone who is narcissistic can really get into fitness, right? And not necessarily you have to be that way, but someone who is probably going to care about that stuff. And if they go into the fitness business with that mindset, thinking that I like this on myself, it's probably an easy way to make money. They're not really in it for helping people, right? And they're going to get burnt out very, very quickly. So there's no passion, there's going to be no profit, there's going to be no lasting in it very long at all, because you're doing it for completely selfish reasons. So there is a lot of I would say there's way more poor trainers and coaches than there are good ones, sadly. But I believe that about most professions probably as well, chiropractors, doctors, and everyone else. So yeah, you have to have a passion for it, and you have to really want to make someone's life better at the end of the day. And the profit will come when the transformations come. And as long as you're getting the word out that you're, if you have decent marketing and sales skills, you'll grow a business if you want to do it. But I do say, if there's and this is my personal advice if anyone's ever thinking about getting into fitness as for a living, is that if there's anything else you could do to make money, you probably should do that.
Oh, you mean like enjoy
instead.
top ramen and tuna for a while?
You should do something else, yeah. If there's anything else, if you don't feel totally called to do it, if you don't feel like it's your path, don't do it, because there's easier ways to make money. There's more. There's better hours. There's better ways to do it.
I love it. So what do you remember either touching a weight or grabbing onto an apparatus or riding motocross and seeing that, hey, strength, fitness helps me do that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I started gymnastics when I was 7, so we were doing pull-ups and dips and sit-ups, and
that's why you have big
everything.
arms.
So
You do.
you
always see that. I always sometimes I just love
you can't
the
say
bicep.
anything about me while Steve's right here.
No, I just always looked at those gymnast bicep
Tricep,
bellies.
bicep,
I'm like,
shoulder.
what the heck? So you do, but
Yes.
when you got out of the car, I was like, wow,
Yes.
you can see that. So you wear it well.
Thank you. Gymnasts also, it doesn't make you short to be a gymnast either, right? Only short people are really good at being gymnasts. So the tall kids quit when they're like 11 or 12 because they have growth spurts. They're not good at it anymore. And so there is a certain degree of, whether the sport makes the body or the body makes the sport. So genetics play a big role with whether if you don't have strong muscles and a tight, compact frame, you're not going to be a good gymnast. It just takes you too long to do a flip if you're long and lengthy,
The
right?
rotation.
And you can't hold on. So
I
built,
could see Steve trying to do a flip.
Yeah, my arms would just stay right there.
I mean, a huge gymnast is like, I don't remember the last, I think, like if you're like 180 pounds, you're an enormous gymnast. And motocross is kind of the same thing. They're almost like jockeys, right? Like you can't, most motocross racers are like 5'8".
But there's this thing called
160,
gravity, and
150.
gravity and weight just don't go
Doesn't-
hand in
yeah.
hand, especially on joints.
Trying to slow a dirt bike down into a corner when you're like 220 versus like 170 is way harder on the brakes for the bike, and it's way hard to stop. So
And at 260, it's even difficult.
Oh, yeah.
It shouldn't be done. Casual riding.
Right. So, yeah, I got into to fitness pretty early. Like I was saying in the last show that, I memorized the infomercials for Bowflex and Total Gym and all that. And I liked the mechanical kind of science side of fitness. I thought it was interesting to how a muscle contracted and the multiple fibers inside the muscle and everything like that. So I geeked out on it a little bit. And then, but I saw the usefulness of it for what we were doing to train outside, that the training outside of your sport, right? Strengthen your muscles, let your sport condition you, your efficiency for the sport, but outside of that, lifting weights to take the strongest muscles you can into that sport, right? So if you're a stronger motorcycle, if you're a stronger body on a motorcycle, you can control the motorcycle better. You don't try to mimic motorcycle moves in the gym so much. You just try to get stronger in the gym and then let the motorcycle, that exact technique, the real thing you're actually doing when you're racing, let that condition you for the sport. And so that gets, I think, kind of confused a lot in the kind of the sports conditioning field for sure, trying to mimic sport movements too much in the gym. But anyway, yeah, so I saw the benefits and always did it. For whatever sport I was in, I would modify it a bit, and I would always train outside of my sport for the sport. And so just kind of evolved from there. And when I was around 16, 17, I kind of quit racing, but I never quit lifting. And I got more into, I've done powerlifting and CrossFit and all. I've tried to do everything at some point, but always kind of just went back into bodybuilding. It's the easiest on the joints and the ligaments, and it's the most longevity side of it for sure. So
But
I ached a lot doing powerlifting.
Well, I think that's where that's.
Do you know Sean Flanagan?
Yes, Sean.
Okay.
Sean is like a little brother.
Yeah, so I trained with him for like a year and a half, and my bench and my deadlift and my squat and everything went up, but so did the laying on the pillow wrong at night and waking up and not be able to move. He's like
Sean's
a genetic
another freak,
He,
yes.
he does not get injured. He does not get tired. He doesn't have bad days at all. Like he can do.
Do you remember when he went out for
48
CrossFit and he was like would he make it up to number 30 in the nation just, and he's all, okay, I did good and I quit. He did it as a hobby.
No, he just he just like lifts.
There's
He
those
likes to
genetic
lift heavy
freaks.
things up. That's his favorite thing, is just lifting heavy stuff up. He likes powerlifting, I think, the most, and he's always thrown in some form of bodybuilding in there. And he'll do some isolation moves. He'll be doing his dumbbell curls or whatever too. But he's just always been yoked. I saw him actually at 24 Hour Fitness when I was a kid, because he's like 5-7 years older than me, so it was a big difference, because he was as big, I feel like, now as he was when he was, I think he was as big in his early 20s as he is now. He really hasn't, his frame hasn't changed. He's always had these yoked, huge thighs coming out of his arm sleeves his whole life. And so he was just like this huge guy to me. And then when I got older, it's like, oh, we're closer in age than I thought we were. You were just like twice the size of me when I was 15 and you were 22 or whatever. So worked with him for a while, and that was fun to get those lifts up. But I didn't feel necessarily better that functional ability didn't necessarily carry over into other things in my life. And so I had my first kid during that time that I was training with him, and then had another one, and then we had another one, and then we had another one, and that stuff. Not that fitness became less important to me, but how much I could lift or anything like that mattered much less. But not that the muscle itself, muscle is the longevity organ of the body, and we need to keep as much of it honest as we possibly can in the safest, most sustainable way possible long term.
It is the fountain of youth, isn't it, Steve?
Very much. Body emotion stays emotion. That's one of the things I look. I don't know if you saw the post I put up the other day of the 79-year-old that was.
I
completely,
did,
and I was just like, goals,
I know.
goals.
Yes, and you can have those goals.
Ah.
Well, and I think Steve and I, we always talk about it, that the movements that we did, or you still do, and you might still do. I don't, just for the record. The powerlifting moves, the squat, the dead, maybe the bench, the clean. Those are just instrumental movements that you bring into other things. I there again, I don't do the flat bench anymore. Today I did because forgot what you said on our show, Ministry Matters, but the influx of people that come to the gym in January. So I went to the gym today, Steve, and not one thing I was looking for was available. So I actually told my wife I ventured into the free weight room. And I felt like, wow, what is this?
Did your ego walk in there with you?
No, it did not. Steve, I left that at the door years ago. But I went in there and I did some dumbbell inclines. I think, well, that feels good. But, I didn't get any heavier than 35 pounds. But I'm just saying, I had to scatter because of the gym was the influx of the
Not to mention today was a holiday.
Yeah, and people making those resolutions.
Yes.
And so I went in and did that. So I love the fact that you did. Were there any injuries that you can remember that helped move you along in anything like gymnastics or motocross? I mean, motocross, one accident, you probably could injure the entire body. But were there injuries that muscles in working out helped you overcome or allowed you to stay in the sports a little longer?
Did
muscle help me not be injured prolonged
so
after
with the beating on the knees, because a stronger thigh would I think would be very well, because you're able to stay in the saddle and not just rely on the joint.
Yeah, my worst wreck as far as the injury goes, I had concussions and things like that and broke my foot. But the worst one, pain-wise, was actually in 2015. I was just recreational riding with my father-in-law, and
Why is that always it?
Yeah,
right?
I was just messing around, and I took this berm, but it was on a high mountain, so it was a really tall berm. So by the time I came around and got kicked off sideways, by the time I hit the ground, I probably had fallen 10 feet because I didn't hit till I was at the bottom. So I got flipped off and I landed on my tailbone and flipped, and I bruised my girdle, my hip girdle, so bad my chiropractor thought I may have broke something in there. And so we got x-rays and everything was fine, but it was so bruised up I couldn't put any pressure on one foot. I had crutches and I was walking like a mermaid. Both feet had to touch, and then I would use both crutches at the same time and swing my legs to the middle. So I was just free swinging, touching, and then taking the crutches forward.
The gymnastic thing came into play.
Yeah, good there too.
I didn't think of that.
And so, I was sober as my chiropractor. He's all, you weren't so muscular in your gluteus maximus area. He's like, the impact would have been so bad. He's like, I think you would have broken your hip for sure. So that was a time where that injury could have been a year out or required surgery. And I was just very severely bruised for about 3 months. The first 10 days were horrible. My wife had to pick up my feet to put them on the couch, because I couldn't, if I activated my hip flexors at all, it was just instant pain. Was so bad. Excruciating pain. Yeah, it never hurt. Actually, the biggest injury of that crash was my shoulder. It lasted the longest. I was in so much pain the first week, I didn't even notice my shoulder hurt until I put it up on the couch and my subscap was torn. So that was way worse. That took 9 months to heal. The hips were actually pretty quick, but the pain, the 1 to 10 pain was so much worse. It took me a week to figure out my shoulder was even torn.
Man,
a friend of mine wrecked on a motorcycle and his knee had to be replaced, and he didn't figure out his knee was messed up until a year later. And he's like, something's wrong with my knee.
Yeah, you have a priority list, right?
The body finally, everything healed up, and he was like, no, that's not right. And they, oh yeah, by the way, we need to replace that.
I always say this on the show, and Steve knows it. I always tell my wife, if I ever am unconscious and they take me and they do a MRI, only let them fix what I'm in there for. because they're going to see everything else that I have neglected through the years, and because I'm just like, oh, I'll just quit doing that. I just started checking off things I couldn't do anymore versus the things I could do, and so I always tell my wife, just let them fix why I'm there. The rest of the stuff, I can do without. So as you did find out, the fitness helped, the heavily muscled lower region of your body helped you with that. Anything else like gymnastics? Do you ever deal with an injury or anything that would push you into a rehab where you had to do something different?
No, I got really lucky with gymnastics. I never got seriously injured. I was pretty young doing it, 7 to 11, and so I landed on my head and stuff lots of times. And I did have chronic. The first time I ever got adjusted by a chiropractor, I was 19, and I had no idea how locked up my upper back and my neck were, and that was, I'm sure, from falling on my head all those times. And so you don't notice those when you're 10, 11, 12, 13, your body just covers them up, right? And so every injury you get when you're a kid that goes away in 2 days, it comes back when you're older, and then you feel it all the time. And so the stronger you are, the more you can cover that stuff up for the longest period possible. But everything after 30 tends towards disorder. If you don't actually make it adapt and keep the muscle on, you're just going to slowly degrade into nothingness, and you're going to feel every injury you've ever, I think that imprint, that scar of everything you've ever experienced comes back when the muscle leaves the body. And then as bone loss comes in, now you're just, that's why the story, grandma fell over in the kitchen and broke her hip. Like, why does that happen? So why does grandma always break her hip? Because her butt muscles are gone and her bones are soft. So they're so brittle, they just crack when they hit. And so that's a debilitating injury at that age. And now they've lost mobility for, who knows, maybe they're not going to get it back at that age, right? And that can be an injury that actually sends them into a spiral of health issues where they're laid up, and when they can't move and they're that age, the body's like, there's no sense for life at this age if you can't move, right? And so they get pneumonia and they die in the hospital of pneumonia when they went in there for a broken hip. So this is a big deal, like letting your body just go to waste and letting muscle atrophy happening, letting bone mineral density leave your body. That's just it's a big issue.
So what you're saying in a simple way is, don't stop.
Don't stop.
Don't stop.
You're never too old to lift. People think they get too old to lift, but they should do cardio, which is funny. I'm like, cardio is where all the impact is on your joints, your ligaments, your soft tissue. That's where 8 times your body weight gets applied. You can't squat 8 times your body weight, but you can go run outside and take that 10,000 steps of 8 times your body weight. Every client I've ever had, when I've told them, don't go train for a marathon unless you love marathons. Like, don't do this as like a side project for maybe I'll lose weight on the way.
Because you're getting a hip
marathon.
replacement.
They all injure a knee or a hip within just a few months of doing it because they don't go take the proper classes from a running coach. They don't get the right shoes. They don't do it right, and they're not built for. You have to be built to be a runner. If Steve goes runs, he's gonna fall apart.
I always tell people, if you see me running, it's scary.
There's a problem.
It's
very
scary.
Because somebody's chasing you, and they're bigger than you.
But that's smarter, though. I would say that the Bible says only a fool runs with not being chased, and so that's why we just lift. I
like when you brought up shoes. People look past that. I mean, I've talked to that a million different people. That I always start at the foot. Like, your shoes are wrong. Yeah. And people just look at you like, huh? No, your shoes are wrong.
Don't sell me shoes. Sell me supplements, especially anabolics.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, do you go get a new street bike and not buy the boots? Do you the snowboard, the clips? Do you not do? But you go do this thing. You're going to do it every day.
Yes.
And
for maybe
go
an
with
hour
Converse.
And a pair of Nikes you got out of Foot Locker.
Yeah. And you're running on concrete that has zero give at all. I just tell people, just go run on a treadmill or run on grass or dirt. That even hard dirt is so much more forgiving than the sidewalk or asphalt. You are taking every little impact that happens is going through your body upward every time you take a step, and you're probably running wrong already. Yeah. And you're also, even just being slightly overweight when you run is a horrible thing. If you got to lose, even just 10, 20 pounds when you go run, that's going to be drastically easier if you get that weight off you, which is why really good runners are very skinny, frail-looking people for the most part. Not sprinters, but long-distance runners don't have a lot of muscle or body fat because you don't need to be muscular to run. You need to be able to swing your foot in front of the other one. And so the body naturally does atrophy muscle as well when you run a lot because it doesn't get any signaling that it needs the muscle tissue. It knows that it needs to be light, and light can be a loss of lean tissue or fat tissue.
I love it.
Man, wrote a book for me.
I know.
What else to say. That's good.
That's why I like having John on. I mean, I love having you on too, Steve. And so as you've moved into as a profession, so as you get maybe somebody coming to you in person, give us the difference between the person coming to you in person and the person coming to you with Limitless. Because the person coming to you in person, you're seeing them. You may, I love when you go to the doctor, the first thing they do is they just look at you when you walk in. The physical evaluation is pretty much some of the exam. You know,
No, I mean, you mean like Mike over here when he tells me a month later, oh yeah, I didn't understand that workout.
That's Mike. Well, he'll ask me things, Steve, and I'm just going to rat Mike out because he's not here. Maybe he's listening or
I thought he was somewhere on the other side.
he's taking a nap, or he's eating sweets. So he'll say, "Hey Tom, what does this mean?" I go, "I don't know. Call your coach." I go, "We're friends, Mike. Steve's your coach." I go, "I've never done that. I mean, I'm a lab rat. And people see me or see what I've done, and I've just always been a lab rat. Oh, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. I was just willing to go a little farther than anybody else. I mean, I remember having a conversation with Arnold. He goes, "The problem with you guys, Tom, you guys aren't afraid to die." And I go, "Not a bit. I'm achieving, the needle, whatever it takes. I'm on it, baby."
Yeah, you've read the statements that you always, and people laugh like, "No, I'd eat a bowl of dog crap to win."
Yes,
and it's true at
that
every
is
level.
A bodybuilding.
Some of the meals aren't that far off.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm pretty sure it was.
That's very true, Jeff.
Chicken with chicken.
So Jeff, tell us about that difference between the customer who comes in your gym and you see every day versus the limitless.
Are you talking about the difference between them or the process of
Well,
getting?
I think what he means is more the hands-on. Like when you have somebody in person, it's hands-on. I can see the mistakes you're making. I can correct your form. I can and then you have this person that you're online.
Mm-hmm. So the online, it's a totally different psychographic of a person who comes in. So the person who comes online is getting a direct call out somewhere online. They saw something I either posted or they saw an ad, and it's speaking to them really direct. So they come in and they're typically a very self-motivated person because they're not looking for something in person. They're looking for something online because they connected and they know if they're in Texas, I'm in California, they're going to have to train that way anyway, right? But it's worth it to them because they felt such a emotional response to whatever it is they saw. They're like, this is the coach for me. I don't care if it's in person or if it's online. And they want to learn to do it themselves anyway, right? So and I do have them film workouts and get feedback on their form and everything like that as well. But they're mainly looking for a mentorship, accountability, coaching situation where I'm giving them feedback on most aspects of their life, which is why we call it the 5 realms of Force, Foundation, Fitness, Fortune, and Family, because we look at every area they could be improving and how this optimizing this vessel that's the only thing that carries them through these other realms and allows them to live this life, how that's going to make their life better. So from a coaching standpoint, it's mainly feedback for them. So they're going to go through a core curriculum of my belief system on eating, exercise, and so on. And then I call it launch. So they're going to do that the first couple of days and they're going to start. They're going to start exercising. They're going to start eating. After that is now when we start the coaching, the accountability stuff, all the stuff that would come up that would derail them. I try to get to that before it happens. I try to get them while they're hot. So today a guy hit 40 pounds that's in Limitless weight loss. I was like, hey, we need to get your next Zoom coaching call scheduled for these items that I won't bring up here. But he's in this honeymoon stage. He's like, I just lost 40 pounds. Everything's going well. I'm like, I'm going to get you before something's going to come up. And we're going to talk about these mindset principles now. I wanted to say that earlier. We were talking about the mind and the body. There's so much obsession on mindset training these days. When someone's body doesn't feel good, you just got to change your mind and change your thoughts and get positive. I'm like, you realize that the body sends alarm feedback to the mind and they're reacting to that alarm system on a regular basis. So it's not just we need to fix their mind and their body are one, and intuition and gut instincts. Those are real. That's real wisdom that the body, there's a reason you meet someone, you're like, I can't put it on paper why this guy is slimy, but I know there's something off about this. And if you wrote a pros and cons list, he's a great guy. He's got a good reputation, business, everything's good, but there's something in your gut telling you that something's wrong with him. And then a few months later, you find out this guy's a big scam artist, something happened. Where was that intuitive wisdom coming from? Was that from your brain or was that from the body? Was that from the gut? So we get deep into all that stuff too, that how your mind and body, everything has to be optimized. We can't just have you, and that's why we break the realms up so we can properly coach them, so we can compartmentalize it for them so they know what to focus on. So if we're doing a force or a life force coaching call, this is all about spiritual ascension. We got to see where you're broken, what trauma you're carrying from your past that's taking, we disregard kids' feelings, but every adult problem we have is from issues we had when we were kids, right? And so
I love that.
And then foundation of the mind, their mindset that guides them through life, the principles, what do you believe is high integrity in are you breaking what you think would be your integrity to get this business stuff done, to get these things done? How are things going with your wife? And so then the third realm we're going to is fitness, and that's actually the eating and the exercise. That's the optimization of the body, and that has to be a part of all of it. But you can't have just the big muscles without the other things, because eventually you get pulled out of the fitness realm, like we said earlier.
Oh, you do.
You will get pulled out of your health and fitness regimen when your life falls apart in one of the other realms, or many of them. You can always build a business back after you burn it to the ground. You can always get your fitness back unless you die, right? But a spiritually broken man, when that crumbles, all the realms follow suit.
I love it because we all believe in the fact that the Bible says that we have to take care of our mind, body, and spirit. We love the Lord God with all our mind, our heart, soul, and body. So it all is connected. And when people don't put that together, you're not the complete human being.
Yes.
So to answer your question on with Thompson Fitness clients coming in, they're not probably as bought in the beginning with all of that stuff. They're coming in mainly because they're referred, or because you're just close by their house, right? Close by their work, close by their house. They're typically not going to travel very, very far. A referral might, and most of our clients at this point, we've trained about 3,000 clients the past 15 years, so we do have a high referral base. And so they come in, they're pretty pre-sold, and they want to do it, but they mainly see the value of what they're buying as the workout sessions themselves. So sometimes, I'm not saying this if you guys are listening, to all of you, but sometimes they disregard a lot of the external advice about their life because they don't feel like they're paying for that, and it kind of comes across as free information. And I don't think you can truly change someone's life for free, because until they pay, they don't pay attention.
Amen,
so
right?
they think they're buying. They think they're buying just the workouts. They're like, well, I'm here. I show up for the work. It doesn't matter what I do the other 23 and a half hours of the day that I'm not with him. I'm going to be fine because I got this workout in. But that's where the money's made.
I can't drink?
Yeah.
Alcohol?
My diet's fine. I drink beer every night, but my diet, just because you chew it before you swallow it does not mean it's any different than when you just drink the calories. Well, they hate when I do like an alcohol post and everything that it does physiologically. They're like,
I just tell people, if you're drinking
day.
the night before, don't go to the gym the next day.
Yeah.
There's so many.
But I would never go to the gym then. I drink every night.
There's so many things wrong with it.
Just the dehydration of the muscle. It's amazing how many people I'm like, don't do it.
I'm like, every single thing you try to do with exercise, eating, supplementation, your sleep, alcohol does the exact opposite of it. Wrecks your hormones. It wrecks your deep sleep, which is when your growth hormone and everything, that's when tissue repair happens. It dehydrates your muscle. It makes you stupid. It lowers your inhibitions. Everything that you're trying to be, it literally makes you dumber.
Isn't it funny?
There's nothing that it makes better.
Steve's obviously in the realm of being physical, so he's been a bouncer and all things. So you ever see clients come in and they are in a line and they see you and they turn around and leave the line? Do you ever see that?
Well, when I was the front door guy, it would happen quite a bit. They'd come around the corner and they'd just be like, oh, and I'd be, oh, okay, cool. So we're not drinking tonight, huh?
So I'm not trying my fake ID on this guy.
My favorite one is because after a while, when you move inside and I'm up on a box and I'm hidden, and I come around and just put my arms around them, like, how's the night going?
I'm not drinking water. Not anymore.
But the crazy thing is, and you've run it, I mean, through the industry, you meet people and they try to justify it. I have read coaches that try to justify drinking, and I'm like, just because you like to drink doesn't mean it needs to be in fitness. I mean,
there's different cultures. And you can't bring one into the other.
If you like to drink every night, cool, that's you. But don't tell your clients that, no, you could drink every night. No, you can't. No. The body does not know what to do with alcohol, sugar, period. It's amazing. I mean, that's one of the main things I tell people. Like, you have alcohol, the body has no clue what to do with it. None. It's poison.
I try to give them a biological story of like, do you remember when you go out and drink at dinner time and you're out at a restaurant and your stomach's like kind of upset, like you feel like you're not like digesting things well? They're like, oh yeah. I'm like, that's from the drinking with the food. You're messing with your digestion. I'm like,
you're not digesting well.
When you are in the presence, when alcohol's in the presence of your system, it's your body's priority is to metabolize that and get it out of your system, because if it left it in your system, it would kill you. So that's why your fat loss stops, your digestion slows down, you are dumber, everything. Your body has to slow. It has to go into, like my Tahoe, go into limp mode at 400 RPMs to deal with the onslaught of what you just put in your body. There is no such thing. I tell people, there's no such thing as a healthy dose of alcohol. You can be healthy and drink alcohol time to time, but there's no biological benefit to consuming alcohol. Every study that comes out is just wishful thinking. They're like, what about resveratrol for my heart? I'm all, getting resveratrol from wine's like getting calcium from a donut. There's some in there, but it's completely pointless. You can take resveratrol as a supplement. You can eat grapes and get resveratrol. You do not need to drink a bottle of wine and justify it that it must be good for my heart.
The medical term is literally alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
It's poison.
Well, do you think that's like just a threshold wall that happens? Or do you think it's a gradual build up that happens? Like the smallest dose, you have to detoxify that just like you have to a larger dose. There's no such thing as a healthy There's no such thing as a healthy dose of alcohol.
No. And like you said, and I love this, it just makes you dumber. It does. You know, and there again, I know we don't step it on people.
How many stupid things can you attribute back in your life for like
everything?
Everything I did when it was really dumb was when I was drinking.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Had at least some alcohol in my system. I made the dumbest decisions of my life. That should be enough for you never do it
Those
again.
are just the ones you can remember.
Well, if you don't remember it, your friends will remind you of
yes.
it. Right?
That wasn't me.
That's so funny.
At least you guys weren't video. You know, there wasn't all the phones around to
Thank
video.
God.
No, hey, there again, I was fortunate.
Thank God.
Yeah, I honestly, I look back in my fitness career, and the stories remain, but there's no pictures.
That would be the negative thing. Yeah, like you said. I mean, like we talked about that one time. I said, I wish there was social media back then. How do I get paid?
Yeah, for being dumb, right?
Yes.
I like that. That's so funny. So I love what you do. I would love to see you two do a show with the guest. I mean, I think you two putting the fitness and the supplements and stuff together. Hey, I'm just saying that out there. I'm sorry. Steve knows I've always been trying to get myself off this chair, but
yeah, until you move away, it's not happening. Huh?
That's probably so. What would you like to leave our people with, our audience with, not our people, our audience? We're so glad you're out there. Subscribe, hit the bell. What would you like to leave them with from a fitness perspective that you have? Because you've seen people do the right things, you've seen them do the wrong things. What would you tell them out there? I'll leave it at that. And then Steve, I'll give you the last word. So,
I would say that for one, don't be scared of lifting. You are not going to accidentally get big and bulky. It's very hard work to put a lot of muscle tissue on. And you're not going to accidentally lift weights for a couple of months and
especially girls, right?
Especially women. Yeah.
How many times do you hear that?
If there's one good thing CrossFit did, and I don't say a lot of things good about CrossFit, it was that it got women actually picking up a barbell again. So that was a good thing. But muscle matters a lot. Cardio is a very, very, very far third place to strength training and eating. Those are the primary things that are going to make your, all really the studies, all the big research. Strength training is everything for the longevity. Strength training is what, I think it's like 547 aging genes. The study showed that strength training doesn't just slow down, doesn't just stop, but reverses aging genes. That's strength training. That's not running on a treadmill. So if you want to be strong, if you want to be fit, if you want to look good, if you want to be healthy, if you want to perform better, you need to strength train. You don't have to do it all the time. A couple of times a week will make a massive difference in your life. You don't have to do 2 hours a day, 5-6 days a week. But no matter what your age is, you need to be strength training and not going on jogs with water bottles in your hands. We've been telling old ladies like the wrong thing all these years, that they could like stand in the kitchen and use the 8-ounce water bottles and go on these like jogs or power walks, when really that's where they're getting hurt, and that's what's making them soft and brittle. We've told the people that if they strength train, they're going to get injured. That's going to, and strength train incorrectly is a good way to get injured. But as we know, that picking up paper off the ground incorrectly can also throw the back out, right?
It's the correct. It's the correctness.
Yeah. So eat right, quit drinking, and strength train. That's the most important thing.
I love it.
Well, you know what? We really haven't talked about, and this is for everybody out there. We're putting these videos out, and we have not spoken to the audience. So make sure you like, comment, and share these things.
Yeah.
And make sure you comment. Please leave your comments behind, because my lovely host here, Tom, I let him pick all the things, because Mongo pick up rockin', not that smart. So we would love to hear from you guys, and we would love for you guys to tell us things you would actually like to hear. And what is your social media, so people can actually follow you? Because if they're we're putting this up and we're not giving out social media shouts out.
True, Steve.
Yeah.
Thank you for the corrections, and I received that. There again, if I was in Bakersfield or online, I would hook John Thompson up through Limitless or Thompson Fitness. And make sure you go to Sportslanders West, where you will get the truth.
Now, are you on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all those lovely things?
Facebook and Instagram mainly. So Instagram is just John Thompson's the handle, no underscore, no dot, just John Thompson. And that's mainly my men's Instagram. I'm talking about Limitless and mostly men's stuff there. But we have Thompson-Fitness Instagram. We have Thompson Fitness Facebook. But Instagram's good enough because that's where you start posting. Facebook's just kind of the afterthought of it. So,
yes, that's good. So thank you guys very much. Tom, do you want to send us home?
Yeah, hey, thank you guys for watching. But you remember this, you can also catch us on Spotify and Apple. So if you're out there and you're on a workout that John recommends and you have headsets on, you're on Limitless's program, hey, tune us in on Apple, Spotify, all those platforms. And if you want to, just watch us and see how big Steve really is. Catch us on...
Oh, don't look at the audio is fine.
Love you guys. Thank you for watching.